Asia, the largest continent on Earth, is home to a population exceeding 3.5 billion people. Despite its vastness and diversity, it faces considerable challenges in terms of extreme poverty, affecting numerous countries in the region. But which is the poorest country in Asia? According to data from the International Monetary Fund, Afghanistan stands out as the most impoverished country in Asia. The country is in a precarious position in terms of economic development and quality of life, based on key indicators like per capita GDP and the Human Development Index. Regarding per capita GDP, which measures the average income per person in a country, Afghanistan recorded a staggering figure of €312 in 2021. This places it at the bottom in the per capita GDP ranking of macroeconomic data. This indicator reveals that Afghan inhabitants experience an extremely low standard of living compared to most nations worldwide. On the other hand, the Human Development Index, HDI, developed by the United Nations to assess progress and social well-being in a country, also yields equally discouraging results for Afghanistan. The Afghan population ranks among those experiencing a low quality of life globally, according to this index. This suggests that the challenges for well-being in Afghanistan go beyond a lack of economic resources. A recent UN report reveals a chilling truth. In just one period, the number of Afghans trapped in the clutches of poverty has dramatically increased from a terrifying 19 million to a staggering 34 million. Today on Extraordinary Walks, Afghanistan, the poorest country in Asia on the brink of collapse. The Afghan economy, heavily linked to agriculture, sees over 60% of its population engaged in cereal cultivation. Despite having significant gas reserves, Afghanistan stands at an economic crossroads. The exploitation of these reserves to improve the country's financial situation is hindered by the persistent wars that have marked the nation's recent history, creating an extremely challenging environment for economic development. What mysterious force has unleashed this economic apocalypse? The answer lies in the Taliban's takeover, which has triggered a chain of catastrophic events. The sudden loss of international aid and the freezing of funding have plunged this nation into a dark economic despair. But the nightmare does not end here. Inefficiency rises as an insatiable monster in the path of recovery. 2021 saw aid programs fading away, unleashing an unfathomable economic crisis. How can a country that depends 70% on foreign assistance survive when those gates are closed? The contraction of public finances seems to be only the tip of the iceberg in this tale of misery. Afghanistan, the poorest nation in Asia, trembles under the weight of an astonishing reality, a per capita income plummeting to a meager $450. Only in the shadows of North Korea, hidden behind its opacity, could an equal poverty be found. What secrets hide behind the Afghan economic machinery? Why do Afghan workers spend hours restoring worn-out banknotes? How does the country's inability to print its own money affect this process? The national currency, the decrepit Afghanis, stands as a silent witness to the decline. The impotent central bank cannot inject the necessary liquidity. How can a nation thrive when its assets are frozen in Western hands, and money printing has been in limbo for 3 years? The dilemma permeates every corner of Afghan life, where cash is king. The extremely worn-out banknotes are unrecognizable, and their value cannot be known for certain, becoming a trigger for daily conflicts. How much is the Kabul bill you're trying to pay worth? Impossible to know. Uncertainty spreads like a virus, consuming financial and social stability. But the story takes an even darker turn. Money changers emerge as shadows and have started replacing old bills with new ones, charging a fee for each transaction. What dark agreements have been forged between the Taliban and the central bank to obtain these fresh bills through deals with foreign companies? 3 years without new bills, and only now is a new agreement mentioned. What entity has sealed this pact with Afghanistan? On June 14th, the director of the Central Bank of Afghanistan, DAB, announced during a meeting with the interim Afghan government's Prime Minister, Malawi Abdul Kabir, that the DAB had established a new agreement with another international company for obtaining new bills. To date, the DAB has not provided detailed information on the identity of the involved company or the agreed-upon amount of bills. The bank's spokesperson, Hasbullah Nouri, has stated that more details will be shared when there is news. Wahdullah Nasher suggested that this latest contract was closed with a French company, committing to the production of 100 billion Afghanis. It is worth noting the warning from the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, emphasizing a critical connection between the restrictions on women's rights intensified in 2023 by the Taliban and the worsening economic crisis in Afghanistan. The UNDP statement suggests that limiting women's rights not only has social and humanitarian implications but also direct consequences on the country's economic health, further worsening Afghanistan's economic catastrophe. If you are interested in the Taliban topic, here's a 10-minute documentary on how Afghanistan has changed in 2023 after 2 years with the Taliban in power. We bid farewell for now until the next extraordinary walk. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until next time.